Good evening, everybody. Yes, I say good evening because this show I'm going to talk about is another rom-com anime. Like, I cover rom-coms, a few, not all, but there are gonna be some rom-coms that I'm going to cover, especially this one. Oh, and there's some other shows I'm going to cover in the spring. Umumesune Cinderella Gray. I forgot the other rom-com, but oh yeah, the Shinji family. The Shinji family, one created by one of the greatest, top 10 greatest manga creators of all time to create a Rent-A-Girlfriend. Top 10, by the way. But this rom-com, I'm gonna cover this one because I didn't realize this show aired on Wednesdays. Now I know. You may not get this video review probably Wednesday or Thursday morning, depending on my work shift. But I want to cover this show because, for an ecchi anime, you gotta do it at night. So, I want to put a toast out to this show right now. So, let's talk about this rom-com. So, this rom-com dedicated to like a redo of Healer. Yes, and I love redo of Healer, by the way. So, let me count the ways here. This rom-com that I covered, that I just watched, is one of those shows where you gotta pay the price. This rom-com is kind of like Groundhog's Day. You guys know Groundhog's Day, where the weatherman just sleeps and then he wakes up and repeat the same day over and over and over again just to solve the problem. And then in the end of the movie, once that problem's solved, being nice to everybody, boom, it's a new day. So this rom-com that I covered, it showed you just how all rom-coms are. Two polar opposites. One is this, one is that, one is that, one is this. But there's always going to be a catch. And this catch in particularly, right off the gate. And I saw the uncensored version, although we're not going to get the censored version. I was told that we're not going to get an uncensored version of this one. We're just going to get the censored version. But never fear, it's still fan service to watch. Now, I get it. This rom-com gonna have fan service because it's titled under ecchi. Yeah, it's gonna be comedy, romance, sci-fi, and ecchi. But look, who am I to judge? Fan service is there because it's fan service. So for all y'all out there who said fan service takes away the plot, fan service takes away the anime, stop right there, because that's a lie. Look at High School DxD. Yes, it has fan service, but there's a storyline behind it. To Love Ru got fan service. Don't take away the storyline. High School DxD. Oh, Shin Mimano Testament. They got fan service. Don't take away from that. We gotta understand. Just because a harem, whatever, gonna have fan service, a little bit of ecchi, gonna have ecchi in the category, does not take away the anime. Let's call it, and that's my hot take right there. So for this show particularly is a title this is one of those shows I was looking forward to the spring of 2025. So let's get right to it with a show that I really was thinking about covering, and you know what? I really am talking about it. Please put them on, what do you say? Takamine-san. Am I saying it right? Yeah, please put them on Takamine-san. Let's get right to it, this review. My reaction review of this first episode of this show. So, the first episode of this kicked things off with this guy, Kyoshi, literally groping on a girl's boobs. The first time. This is one of those classic case of like, guy falls on top of the girl, hand touching boobs. Okay. And it's one of those shows where you're just like, oh, how did they get to this? Let's count the ways. So first off, you got this girl named Takumi. Like the most popular, long purple hair girl. She is number one at every category you can name. Gymnastics, science, math, you name it. She is number one at everything. It's always those rom-com girls where the main girl is number one at everything. She's number one at everything, but there's a price. I always feel like when it comes to those number one girls in an anime, like they're number one at everything, there's always a catch, That's Takame. But Takame is that beautiful girl, number one at everything, When it comes to athletics, science, math, any other subject, she is number one at everything. And then you got this normal guy, this Kyosuke guy, like, he knows her since middle school. It's like, again, it's one of those times, one of those things where they like, oh, I know her. Now, Kyosuke, this male guy, you know, I don't hate this guy. Like, first time seeing this guy, it's like, I don't hate him. I don't hate him at all. I don't see him. He's not the guy that gets picked on. I really don't see that. Those two, and these two are just like apples and oranges. Kind of like Gojo and Kitagawa. They're like apples and oranges. Chizuru and Kazuya, apples and oranges. You know, they're just, but Takamine and Kyosuke, they like Kyoshi, they're like apples and oranges. You know, you can't really compare, like, you just can't compare them. One is the popular girl, one is just don't have friends, just being a normal guy. So then one day he's sitting down in the gym storage, and then he hides when he sees the president. And she's the class president, by the way. And seeing Takamine just like all uncensored. Remember, this is the uncensored version, guys. So you get to see all of it. So first, she wasn't wearing a bra and all. He's able to see that. He's like, boobs, and didn't want to say anything. So then, remember, she's perfect at everything. So then when the math test came back with the results, yeah, he got a 58, and then she got a 98. She was 2 points behind. And then you think to yourself, okay, she's perfect at everything, but she got a 98. She was 2 points to get a perfect score. So right in front of everybody in the class, she took off the panties and literally just went back in time. We went Groundhog's Day, just literally went back in time to, like, maybe, I don't know, was it like 30 minutes or something. Went back in time, and literally, he's like, the man, and Dempsey's like, wait, is this, what the fuck? Wait, did I, it's like you realize you drink this already. Like, did I just drink this? Did I? I don't remember. Did I? Have I? But yeah, he's like, deja vu. And he's like, wait, I got my test score back, same as always. But then the class president got 100%. Now, before I continue this, there are some interesting characters I did see in the background. I know I'm focusing on all these two characters, but I did focus on two new characters in the background of the shot. One of them was a boy with sparkles around his aura, and then there was a girl with pink hair on the side sitting down. But we got to see that at the end, make it opening. But we're gonna get to that later on. So Takamine got 100%, but at what cost? So here she goes to speak to her about the scenario, and she told her, and then she told him everything. You see, she has this ability called Eternal Virgin Road, an ability to, like, go back in time and redo everything. I mean, it's kind of like redo of Healer. The only difference is the MC of redo of Healer is one of the best MCs, and he is getting back at people, which I applaud that. And he's making his own harem what it is. Whereas this one here is, she wants to be #1 at everything. It's like Groundhog's Day mixed with Gojo. Or you want to put this with Light Yagami, saying, I'm going to be the god of a new world. This girl just literally wants to become #1 at everything impossible. Making #1 everything. But there's a price. Remember, I told you there's always a freaking price. So she has to take off a piece of her lingerie just to use that ability. Can you imagine that power? First, let's look at this. You have an ability to go back in time and redo to the point where you could be perfect at everything. But you have to take a piece of your undergarment. You have to take a piece of your shirt. You have to take off your piece of your bra, your panties, whatever, a lingerie, just to fix your mistake. And the thing is, your item is vanished, so you have to carry your pair of underwear or socks with your, a piece of lingerie with you. So can you imagine that kind of ability? That's kind of like an everyday thing. But the worst comes to, when I look at that ability, it's like, yeah, but I gotta keep buying lingerie. I gotta keep buying underwear. I gotta keep buying this just to keep my powers afloat. Which got to my attention, which got me thinking about this ability. I'm like, how did she get that ability? That's the thing we got to figure out. And I hope later on in these episodes, I got to figure out how did she get that ability, Eternal Virgin Role? Like what makes her get that ability? Now, he's infected. He's unaffected by it because the fact that he saw her boobs, saw her shirtless, that to a point like, wait a minute, I can see you're doing that ability. So why isn't it doesn't affect everyone else but me? Those are things. Maybe he saw her, maybe she saw, maybe he saw her topless to a point where he's like, oh, maybe that's why, because I already saw you naked. So I guess I saw you I saw your breast, so we're good. Now, here's the win-lose situation for our beloved male MC. He's in a win-lose situation. On the one hand, you saw her ability. And two, you have this incredible dream to grope her boobs. Anybody would have that dream. That's a win. Plus, you're talking to one of the hottest girls in the school, Takamine. So you got that. That's a win. But here's the lose part. And this is where I'm going to say the lose part is. The lose part is this. This guy has to be Takamine's closet. This guy got to be Takamine's closet. In other words, when she wants something, you got to get it. It's like when you open your closet, you take something, you put them on. So in this case, same thing. So if she was to like use her ability and she take off one of her bra or panties, you're the closet. You symbolize that as the closet. So if she was to take off any of her lingerie, it's your job to carry a bag full of panties or bra, and then you give it to her to put, and then you have to put her on. So not only you're a closet, you're also a slave. Now, do I feel bad for the guy? Yes. But this is like a win-lose situation back to a win. Because the win part is you saw her ability. Two, the lose part is you have to be a slave/closet. But the win part is this. You're now the part. Yeah, hold on. And now you're part of this. And that little part when she called the police on the people, that was funny. So funny. She called the police and she's like, talking to me, was like, okay, I'll tell you what. If you put this on, I'm going to make sure you're going to regret it. So she's like, that scene was trolling. That was savage. Not only she had to scream, and she called out the police and the school. So she's like, okay, I'll put it back on if you do it. I'll do it if you be my slave/closet. So I feel bad for Kyosuke at this point. I really do. But at least he got the girl. So that's going to be consequences for you. You know how they say there are consequences for your actions? This is one of them. This is one of them. But, and I do like the opening. The opening does show us new characters and all that stuff. Especially that blonde girl. I got to know what this girl is going to be on. And that guy, I don't know. But I think there's going to be other characters. The way I see this first episode is really spicy right now. But the way I see it for this rom-com, I feel like there's going to be other characters who have that certain ability with a twist. Let's see where that goes. So, that was a good episode. I can't wait to see more of this on the uncensored version. So let's see where the all thing's going to go. So I look forward for next week's episode of it, and I'm sure you will.